Peace. Actually, let me turn off my air conditioner because it's probably really, really loud. Okay. Peace. Hello, everyone. This is ESAIA Mystic, and welcome back to another video. I'm here with another message to help you free your heart and soul. Make sure you smash the like button as you come in. This is the channel where I talk all about decolonizing spirituality and primordial feminine energy. And every time you connect with me and watch one of my videos, you are recoding yourself back with the original DNA and memory of who you actually are and who you came here to be. So in today's video, I want to talk about what makes, really not even what makes, but why certain men are being labeled as simps and the divine feminine perspective on it. So recently I have been making a lot of feminine energy videos, topics, basically going in depth into understanding feminine energy on a better level. But I also have been being called to step into really defining masculinity and sacred masculinity for women specifically, to start remembering what that actually looks like and what that actually means for them. And with that, I'm also going to be offering another course in the Sacred Soul Academy, where we're really going to be going deeper into why it's important for you as a woman to understand sacred masculinity and to be able to integrate sacred masculinity into your actual energy signature. Because the truth of the matter is, as a woman, you want to develop your sacred masculine, your inner sacred masculine, because without it, you won't be able to express authentically your feminine energy, and you will not be able to attract and experience men that actually elevate your frequency, that actually uphold these masculine principles. You will attract men that actually uphold the distorted principles, or men that fall into, not having their feminine energy balanced out, or not being able to connect to their feminine energy. So you want to connect to your sacred masculine for this reason, so that you can be able to do these things. Hi, Food Abroad. Welcome. So before I go in deeper, I saw my poll in the community. You guys voted on Friday being the day that I go live. And I thought that was so interesting because I was actually born on a Friday. Hey. So I was like, okay, we'll do the live videos on my day. Specifically, I'll have scheduled times where I just go live every Friday. Outside of that, I do like to be sporadic. I do like to do things, when I want to do them. It's the way my human design it aligns me, right? The way my human design literally says that I am not supposed to be always so punctual. So I'm giving myself that freedom to just go live whenever I want. Like I am today. I am actually have some things planned for tonight. So I was like, oh, it's a perfect time to go live, before I go out and enjoy my evening. So, okay, feel free to also put your questions in the chat and, comment your questions as you go through and listen to this video, or, if you get to the end of the video, you can put your questions at the end. So, sacred masculinity. It is important for women to integrate and understand what their sacred masculinity looks like. Now, first, I want to get into how the modern day understanding of masculinity and what is promoted as masculinity isn't actually masculinity. It is actually masculinity that is repressing and denying his connection to feminine energy. So it's like this masculine energy that we think is masculine, that we're being programmed to think is masculine. And it has all of the overt masculine traits. And this is why it's so insidious, because you really won't be able to tell if this masculinity is genuine or not unless you have also connected to your sacred masculine. This is why it's so important for you, because there are a lot of men out there who look like they're masculine, but then when you see beyond the surface, they're actually not as masculine as you think. They're actually repressing and denying a lot of their feminine energy, so they can never fully and totally integrate that masculine energy. So that's just the beginning, right? So this is something you want to be aware of as a woman when you are going out into the world, when you're dating with men that you come across, or just in your own life, right? You want to understand just off bat that as a culture, we don't have a healthy understanding of masculinity. So what is this distorted perspective of masculinity? The distorted perspective of masculinity is, and this is something that a friend of mine recently, he told me a story, and I'm pretty sure he'll be okay with me telling his story. I'm not going to say your name unless you want me to, but he came to me and he told me about how recently these people that he was around started or vented like to other people publicly about how they think that he's a weak guy, and he's not aggressive enough, he's super weak, he's a lame, and basically like trying to call him like a wuss. They were publicly saying these things about him because his energy is just very calm. He's very calm. He's very reflective. He's very, he's very serene. He doesn't have all of those traits that we're programmed to think, oh, this is masculine, right? The traits where, the guy has a big ego. He's walking in a room and he has this big, boisterous ego. He's, the loudest one in the room, or he's super aggressive. He kind of has this aggressive demeanor to him. And a lot of times on the surface, we'll see that as like, oh yeah, he's masculine, right? Because men are supposed to have an ego and men are supposed to be protective, so that's masculine. But what we don't see is, or what we're not actually weighing in with our modern understanding of masculinity, is that who is he hurting in the process, right? Like, is he hurting people in the process? And this is a thing where, especially in the Afro-Indigenous community, where we've just kind of accepted men being abusers and and neglectful, and just these kind of like full-on masculine men, at the detriment to our emotional well-being, at the detriment to our mental well-being, and sometimes even our physical well-being, which is, which is the point where people normally notice, right? Like, that's the thing most people notice is the physical stuff, right? Once somebody's getting physical with you, oh, he's obviously an abuser. But even then, with our society and our conditioning and understanding of masculinity, we'll find a way to twist the responsibility for that man's behavior and reaction onto the woman or onto the situation or onto the circumstance. And none of that is a valid excuse. Not all of those things are excuses, right? You're making excuses for our collective connection and consciousness towards masculinity and what is a healthy masculinity, what is a sacred masculinity, and what is actually toxic, right? What is actually detrimental to people's livelihood, right? So this entire system and this entire matrix is built off of this misunderstanding of masculinity. I wouldn't even call it a misunderstanding because misunderstandings aren't intentional. This is intentional, to where this understanding of masculinity is being intentionally distorted so that men don't feel confident and comfortable connecting to their femininity, connecting to. So when I say femininity, let me break this down, because people also get cringy when I say, oh, a man connecting to his femininity. Right? Or there'll be some relationship, right, to like homosexuality that they're, especially men's minds, that they'll go to like connect to my femininity, So connecting to your femininity as a man doesn't look like you wearing dresses. It doesn't look like you wearing makeup. It doesn't look like you, doing any of those things. Some men literally do those things because they have wounding around their masculinity. They have wounding around their femininity also, right? So it's like they do that so they can kind of meld this wound, right? Unless, go watch my other video that I did on feminine energy distortion and the LGBTQ and all that stuff, okay, for more on that topic. But for the sake of this video, that's not masculine energy connecting to feminine energy. What I mean when I talk about healthy masculinity being connected to its feminine energy is a man who isn't afraid of his inner being, a man who isn't afraid to reflect and see himself and recognize where he's going wrong, right? Where he can get better, where he can improve as a positive force in this world, because masculine energy is naturally a positive force. Feminine energy is a negative force. Okay? Positive energy, masculine energy is electrical. Feminine energy, negative energy is magnetic. So he has to be able to connect to that feminine soul, right? To that negative experience, to that emotion that he feels. And he has to be able to have a healthy connection to reflecting on those things and being able to pull the wisdom from it, right? Pull the insight about himself from it. Pull the memory about who he truly is as a person on this planet and his connection to everything else in that. That is a healthy masculine man connecting to his masculinity. And a lot of times, men who have a natural ability to do those things and actually respect those things are the men that get dogged out, they get bullied, they get, it's almost like they have the biggest enemy on the planet, literally. And I'm coming to this point where I'm really starting to see just how much opposition these kind of men face because they're not following the program like society and the matrix wants them to. They're following their soul. They're following their connection to the feminine, right? And in that, they become one, they become whole. They, it's a type of sovereignty, right? That they connect to. They connect to their sovereign being. So this guy, right? My friend. Oh, I hope that I'll say his name if he wants me to in the future, but I'm not gonna say it now. But anyway, he was telling me the story about how these people were just like, to me, in my mind, they were talking mad shit. Like, they were just dogging this dude out because they see him as weak because he reads books. You know what I'm saying? He's calm, he's not aggressive, and he's just a laid back dude. And he felt comfortable sharing his story with me because just a few days ago or a couple weeks ago, I had actually commented and complimented him on those same qualities and characteristics that they are calling weak, lame, and all these different things. And he came to me and he was like, I had to come to you and tell you about this because you just got done complimenting me on this. And, I can remember times in my life where other people, like other men, right, who take on that masculine energy distortion, right, that what I usually call predatory masculinity. Right? If you guys have been subscribed and you went through my Lilith Code mini course, you've heard that term before, predatory masculinity. And so the predatory masculinity, right, distorted masculinity that is projected onto most young men, or shoot, just men in general, because it's been happening for such a long time, causes them to think that being a thug, being a gangster, or even being, or even believing in these mainstream constructs is the way to embodying your masculinity. When actually, the vast majority of these guys that, like, this is actually like the these are the low blow masculinity, but like the guys who just wear the saggy pants that show all their booty, the guys who are just straight thugs and they tote around, they fight all the time and everything like that, right, is actually embodying and showing a disconnect to their feminine energy. This is actually a feminine energy problem in these men. This isn't masculinity, but this is actually feminized men who haven't learned to healthily integrate their feminine and masculine energy together. So this is what that actually represents. And then you have men who may not be, in the gutter, right, masculinity, but these are men who are in society, right? They have, they have things going for them. They have businesses, like they have, they're that guy, right? They're somebody. And even then, right, you will see this aspect of masculinity that only believes in the societal constructs, only believes in, you know, the logical and practical ways, and just completely it is resistant to the feminine wisdom that most 9 times out of 10 breaks down those constructs, those societal constructs and structures, and communicates that no, this is actually the aligned way. This is the earth way. So these are the men who are so afraid of spirituality and the spirit of the earth that they can't, or they're so like they're just so afraid of this connection to the earth and this spirit. You guys know what I'm talking about. I talked about this in my Lilith video, right? This undeniable spirit just speaking through the earth, you know, the energy, right? They'll kind of shake up a bit and be afraid of that. They'll shake up a bit and be afraid of that. And when they do that, they won't acknowledge it, but they'll project that back out onto actual men who are balanced in this energy. And they'll project out onto them, and they'll bully them, they'll make stuff up about them. Like, I've come to a point where I'm really starting to see clear as day, you know, how the sacred masculine is also rising, right? And just as the divine feminine is rising, the sacred masculine is rising. Getting the chance to really see what the sacred masculine is being presented with on an energetic level as far as opposition, right? And I'm going to tell you right now, it's going to take a lot of strength. It's going to take a lot of courage for women, number one, to really start to let go of those ideas about what masculinity is supposed to actually be like and look like for you in your life. But it's going to have to start with you also embodying these sacred masculine traits and understanding what this sacred masculine traits within you actually look like, right? And feel like, and how to embody that. Because if you don't know what your inner masculine looks like, feels like, or any of those things, like, think about it like this. Is the masculine energy in you, does it match up with the sacred masculine? Does it match up with your ideal man, right? If you can put a man on a pedestal in the sky, does that masculinity match up with your embodied masculinity? Because for a lot of women, you got F boys inside of you. I ain't even gonna front. You got F boys inside of you. Okay? And so because you got F boys inside of you, you still caught up with these external F boys, okay? And not even realizing that these aspects and traits are inside of you, right? He's telling you stuff, he's, running you for a loop, and he's doing all these things because the inner masculine in you hasn't lined up yet, right? I asked myself this, and I've also asked a woman that I know. She messaged me and let me know about how, she was going through things in her relationship, and I told her that you need to really ask yourself, what would this ideal man do, right? Like, what would this ideal man do in this situation, right? Would he allow this kind of behavior? Would he allow this kind of experience to play out the way it's playing out for you? Or is he gonna be like, cut it, right? Like, I mean, I can't speak for everybody, but I know my inner masculine, he's a beast, okay? He's a beast. He's a beast. I don't know what kind of, you know, and it's so interesting because I've also been noticing a synchronicity with zodiac signs as far as masculinity. Like in my life, I have had masculine figures teach me and guide me in my life, and they have up until this day always been Aries men. Always been Aries men. And every time I'm mentored or guided by this, you know, Aries, like these Aries men, it's always an Aries man. He always gives me this, you know, straight to the point attitude, right? We don't have time for none of that other stuff, okay? We don't have time for none of that other stuff. We don't have time for the games and the chit chat. We about that action, okay? What is happening here? That's always been the energy, and it hasn't just been, you know, generalized. It's been just like in every area of my life. Actually, I think I'm gonna do a separate video on that too, you know, when you constantly attract the same zodiac sign. So for me, that sacred masculinity has always been masculine energy that, oh dang, they back from they walk already. Okay guys, I have my family over and they're coming in the house now. Hey guys, I'm doing a video, so
Yeah.
okay. So it's always been Aries men. Now, for the feminine aspect and the feminine energy that I've attracted, they're trying really hard to be quiet. For the feminine energy that I've attracted, I noticed that it's been Sagittarius women. So it's been Aries men for the masculine and Sagittarius women for the feminine. That's definitely something I will talk about deeper in another video. But that's what I tell women to do. Connect to that sacred masculinity that's inside of you. You know what it looks like, you know what it feels like, you know what it does in certain situations. You know what it does because you have the feeling to act on it. Okay? Or you have the feeling to do it, right? So for me, that's what I had to start doing. I had to start integrating. I had to start integrating this masculine energy into my life as far as how I move internally, right? How I connect internally. So internally, I had to be solid. I had to start getting solid. I had to start having character. I had to start having, you know, higher morals, you know. I had to start leading myself with my heart. That's what I had to start doing. Right? And there's a lot more that goes into that, which is why I'm going to create a little, or I don't know if it'll be big, but I'm going to create a course on sacred masculinity as well. And that's also included in the Earth Feminine bundle. So if you're interested in getting access to all of my current feminine energy and masculine energy courses right now or in the future, you can enroll into the Sacred Soul Academy through the Earth Feminine bundle. And until September 22nd, I am offering 50% off of the normal price. 50% off of the normal price, okay? For the Lilith Code, the Love Potion, the New Love Manifesto, the Sacred Masculinity course that I'm going to add into there, and then I also have the Power of the Moon course that I am creating, right? That has to do with the feminine connecting back to her intuition and psychic powers. So literally, this is this is just my gift to you all, right? 50% off until September 22nd. DM me if you're interested, or you can just sign up now or pre-enroll now. And when you pre-enroll now, you also have access to the 3-month winter intensive that I am hosting for the ladies that sign up. And that's just going to be 3 months of us going deep into activating our goddess frequency. So once you come in and once you come out, you will be a new woman, okay? As far as how you're thinking mentally, how you're being, and what you attract into your life. Everything is just completely going to transform and level up. And so that's my offering to you guys for now until September 22nd. Now, as I was saying, you got to connect to your inner masculine, okay, you guys? Okay, let me look at the comments, because I've been seeing a bunch of comments in here. Some of these I can't even go all the way up to because I'm on my phone. Okay. Food abroad. Hello, food abroad. Yes, that's why the distorted masculine is constantly seeking out women who are disconnected from their own masculine energy. Exactly. Exactly. Because it's easier. It's like when men never want to be around other men and they always want to be around women, right? Why is that? Why is that? What kind of women? You know, why do you never want to be around men? Why don't you have male comrades? You know, why don't you have? It's because, and this is something that a lot of men get off on, and they do this by making it seem like they really love and honor women. This is how they do this. They make it seem like they really love and honor women. And so they want to have a bunch of women around them to run their businesses, be their secretary, you know, be polygamous and, you know, take care of the house, and just basically they're trying to create an army of women who are not connected to their sacred masculine to keep up their own disconnection, right? To keep up their own disconnect from their own true feminine and I don't want to say true feminine energy, but their true self. Because the woman who's not activated in her sacred masculinity, she's only going to really embody light feminine energy traits, right? Like, she's not really going to have that dark feminine balance. She's going to have the light feminine energy traits. She's going to be soft. She's going to be agreeable. She's going to be all the things. But these are usually also the women that they be having something going on in their mind about how things are. It's like those women in the movies that they're so soft and light and kind when you see them and you meet them, and then you go behind the scenes and they be crazy. Like, they be manipulating all kinds of stuff. Like, they be the reason that such and such, you know, tripped and broke her leg or something. Like, it'd be a whole bunch of crazy stuff. And that's the reason why. Because these women be, when you don't have a healthy connection to your own sacred masculinity, 9 times out of 10, you're evil. You're evil. You have some kind of evil nature to you as a woman, and you might not even realize this. But it comes with the territory of, like, you gossiping all the time, you know, talking badly about people. Like, this can be an aspect of you not connected to healthy masculine energy, right? And we're gonna get into that too, because let's get into who the real simps are, okay? Who the real simps are, because it's not these men that I was describing to you guys earlier about all of the, sacred masculine traits that modern society is labeling as this like simp energy. Really, because they don't like the fact that masculine energy connected to his feminine energy creates a sovereign being. And when you have a sovereign, healthy masculine man, your system will not fall, like it won't work, because you know what that man's gonna do? He's gonna uplift and uphold the feminine principles. He's gonna uplift and uphold the divine feminine. That's what that man is gonna do. So they don't want that man. They don't want that man. And y'all gotta also understand that a lot of these people that y'all think is y'all friends is really agents, right? Because when you are ignorant and you don't have that third sense, like that third eye perspective and perception, then you have the ability to be used, right? Because you know not what you do. Like you're blindsided. This is why gaining knowledge and higher awareness is so important, because you want to be sovereign. You want to have authority over your vessel, over your spirit. You don't need nobody coming in trying to manipulate and control you, because you're a weak spirit. So even though these people might seem like they're your friends, they too ignorant, right? Like you got to get around people who, even if they don't know tit for tat and the dotted I's and crossed their T's, even if they don't know all the specifics, but that they handle you in a way that makes you feel really good about yourself. That makes you feel beyond, what you even think you are right now. Now, mind you, we need those people too. We need the agents and the people who are ignorant, right? Because then we wouldn't expand and create all the other things. So, we like them too, just for that. But this is the general understanding, right? Okay, let me go back to the comments, because I kind of took off with what Food Abroad said. Hi there. As a Pisces water sign, I cannot match the masculinity of other signs, especially fire signs. Their volume levels are so much higher than mine. Well, then don't connect to the masculinity of a fire sign. Connect to the masculinity of what what your inner masculine feels like, right? You know who he is. But I would say the most important element here is character. For a woman to be aware of is character. Do you have a solid character? See, this is where most men will, low-key not respect you, not value you, and all the things, because they see that you don't have character, right? Or a well-developed character. So this is why, like, and I'm not saying that these men are saying themselves, because in a lot of times a man that is okay with bad character in anyone in his circumference and just enables that, then that's also an aspect to their masculinity that needs to be looked at. But character is big here. That means that who are you being, right? What do you value? Are you living up to those values? Is respect a thing for you? Like, right? Because that's masculinity's love language, is respect. So is respect a thing for you? Do you value respect, being respected? And that's why I said my inner masculine is a beast, because it's like sometimes I feel like I be too hard up on the respect, like but I choose to embody it, right? I choose to embody it. So showing that character and showing my connection to my own sacred masculinity means I respect myself so much that it's just in the way that I live. I just don't communicate with people who don't respect me. I just don't have time. I'm not available for, opportunities that I feel like also don't respect me, in my energy and my time. Right? I recently got invited to be on like a podcast or another radio show. It was a platform. I don't know exactly podcast or radio show or what, but it was on the topic of polygamy. And I've been over the past 3 years, I've been invited to a good bit of podcasts and shows. And I got to a point where, I love spreading my message. However, what I'm not going to do is I'm not going to become like a broken record in my perspective, right? And basically keep having a debate about the same topic where at this point in my life, I've respected, and the topic was on polygamy, right? And so at this point in my life, I'm like, I respect that I don't value polygamy. Like, I don't value polygamy in the Black community. I don't value its promotion. I just don't think that from what I've seen from it, I don't care for it. So to get on another podcast or radio show to talk about it with people who probably do value it, that probably do have reasons why they love it and all this stuff, it just wasn't for me. I wasn't feeling like that was respecting the highest parts of me.
I want to record what you're doing.
Oh, you want to say hi to the camera? Oh, you might scare him a little bit.
I want to do. Oh.
Oh. What was that? I think she saw how she looked. I don't know. So, okay, let me go back in the comments because I've been losing my train of thought. Lucifer, the perfect example. Lucifer, because he's a light, because the name literally means light. What do you mean by Lucifer? And toxic men hate them because they hate to see men treat women with respect. Yes. Well, I don't think that they hate to see men treat women with respect. I think that what it is that for those men, it's like an ego thing. They want to feel like they're the guy, right? And they're important, and they want that, like, it's an ego thing. And so they don't like to see it because they really want to have it, right? It's a whole projection thing. They don't like to see it because they really want to have it. They're just not admitting that to themselves. It's a shame because true masculinity is beautiful in every sense of the word. I agree. Hey, Rontron. I just want to say that I'm so thankful and grateful to all of the, because I've seen a lot of the same people, a lot of you guys, I've seen you before. You guys show up to my lives, you engage, you comment, you share, and I just really appreciate that. I really feel a sense of camaraderie, community, and support, and it is much appreciated from the bottom of my heart. Thank you guys. You've been on such a roll lately. I love what you do so much. Oh, you're welcome. I can tell you're very passionate about the things you talk about. I appreciate a lot. I appreciate you for appreciating me. And you guys, some days I've gotten to a point, I'm on such a roll lately that I've gotten to a point where I feel like I'm sitting on a gold mine, right, of information and knowledge and channeling of energy. And for a while, the fire it was taking a little minute to really gear up. But now I'm just like, it's now or never. You know, either I'm going to live my life and share my message, or, you know, it's almost like I started to feel like I was breaking a contract I made with myself. So, yes. Hello, Redbird. Glad to catch this one. Yes, call it out, girl. This makes sense. A few weeks ago, I was thinking about what my masculine archetype would be if I were a man. Okay, so it's knowing and understanding your masculine archetype. You need to really just, and it's easy to pull that archetype out of you, especially when you're engaging with men. Like a lot of women, they're very afraid of being masculine, I guess, around men, or having a kind of like pushback. And this is something that I get into deeper in the Lilith Code, you guys, where I basically just break down like exactly what even makes men attracted to you in the first place. So when you repress and you don't have this connection to your sacred masculinity, it's like you also kill attraction and polarity within the relationship. Blessings to everyone in the chat. Got F boys inside of you. Okay. You guys are coming to, it's getting to the point where I can't. Oh, okay. Someone says, in what ways would you say that women embody too much of their masculine energy? Women embody too much of their masculine energy when it's at the forefront of their being. Like, and they don't have a connection to their feminine energy, meaning like you lead with your masculinity. Like you think the world works in a masculine ways. So if you want something, you go get it. If you want to have something, you work hard for it. If you if you meet a guy and you're really attracted to him, you be pursuing him. Like that's when you are too masculine. Like you too masculine. That's when it gets to be too much. It's supposed to be an inner thing. It's supposed to be a feeling state. It's supposed to be intangible traits and characteristics, right? Not actually a being, but like characteristics that you embody. And having a strong character is one of those things. So, what does it mean for you to have a strong character? Have morals, have values, have standards, and don't let nobody try to push you or break you into like something different, right? These are your morals, these are your standards, these are your values, this is what you live by, right? If you really look at sacred masculine archetypes, like Redbird was telling me about Rocky was one of his favorite sacred masculine archetypes. Wolverine, okay. My mom really likes Wolverine. Me personally, I really loved the sacred masculine archetype and story for the Avatar movie. I really like Jake Sully. I love me some Jake Sully. Jake Sully. That's how they would say that. That's how they would say his name. Oh my gosh, that's so funny. Okay, you love Captain America. You love Batman. Okay, all right, got some Marvel. We got the Marvel characters coming in. So yeah, Jake Sully was like one of my favorites. Black Panther. Oh gosh. Well, I'm gonna be honest with you. In the Black Panther, I was identifying. It was an interesting story. Black Panther really got down to a T the the epitome of black masculinity, like today. I feel like Black Panther got that down to a T. Because T'Challa was struggling with connecting to what was right? What was the right thing to do? T'Challa was struggling with going against the political structures. Oh my gosh, this is a perfect analogy. This is a perfect analogy to what I was describing to y'all earlier. Because T'Challa was having a hard time, like he's the king, right? He's that dude, right? He's that guy. But he had a hard time accepting the truth that they was wrong for what they did to that boy and his daddy, which is their family, right? Like they was wrong for that. He had to come to terms that the structures that they had built was faulty. And he had to come to terms with that. And then Killmonger, on the other hand, was the, low hanging fruit that I was telling y'all about. Like it just perfect analogy. And Killmonger was like that low value, hyper masculine man that's really just causing pain everywhere he go. And I don't even think if Killmonger ever even learned his lesson. I think he did maybe when he died. I don't know. I think actually he had to get put out of his misery. That's what it felt like to me at the end of that movie. Like that he was just in so much misery his whole life. And then when T'Challa just ended him, he was like, because he offered him, he was like, I could still save you. And Killmonger was like, why? So you could just put me in a jail cell? So you could just lock me up? I'd rather die than be a slave. So you know what? Well, this is my point. This is my point. So that was like a perfect analogy, that movie, The Black Panther, and like what the epitome of black masculinity is, really just modern masculinity in general is going through right now. So yeah. Jake Sully. I was trying to think of another masculine archetype, because Jake Sully in the Avatar movie, he had it on point. Like, to me, like in the beginning, he was just ignorant. He was like ignorant little. He was ignorant, but he had a lot of spirit. He had a lot of heart. So he could easily learn and connect. And it didn't take him long to understand, like, not only what was important, but what was worth fighting for, right? And it was his people, it was the land, it was the God force that was running through all of them. Awa in the movie. So this is what it is, you guys. They are out here trying to make it seem like men that are actually really great men who have a lot of heart, men who have a lot of courage, and men who do what they're supposed to do, right? Seem like simps, and it's just disgusting. It's well, you know what? I'm not going to get into that though too deeply in description, but it's time to level up in that consciousness for the ladies and the men, but especially for women. When I hear women that are thinking this way, I'm just like, why? Yeah, like why do you continue to think that way? And I realize it's just because you've never been exposed to anything different as a normal. It's not that you don't see it, right? And it's not in front of you, but you don't see that as normal. You see that as something that is weird or wrong, right? Or weak. And it's not weak. Actually, it's the epitome of strength. So, I'm not saying the sacred masculine doesn't value fighting and doesn't know how to be aggressive and doesn't do all of those things. But it was just like Redbird, you were saying, I don't know if you're still in the room, but it was just like how Redbird was telling me that you fight when you have to. You fight when you called to it. Like, you fight for a purpose, for your family, for, but you don't fight and be aggressive and be just this macho guy or egocentric, ego-filled guy because, of petty things. When I say petty, I'm like, oh, somebody took your parking spot or something. Like, that's petty. Come on now. If you would have just been connected to your feminine energy, you already know you had a spot for you. You wouldn't care who took what parking spot. You're like, I have my own spot. Every time I go to park somewhere, I already know I have a spot. It don't matter how packed it is. I always get a spot in the front, close. Because I connect and I just set my intentions and I work my magic. And the parking spot is just a small example, you guys. But, this is just how you do things in life. When you're connected to that feminine energy, you don't even feel a need to go those aggressive routes. One time I flipped out on a guy that worked at 7-Eleven because he was fussing at my nieces. Okay, well, he was playing with your nieces. I mean, I think that's fine. Me personally, I think that's fine because it's one thing for you to fight over your ego. It's another thing to defend the people that you love. Because if I see a man who's fighting over his ego, like, oh, somebody took my parking spot, but then, we go out and somebody disrespects me and he don't do nothing. I just saw you get out your car and, beat on your monkey chest over a parking spot. But you're not going, oh, okay. I see what this is really about. It's about your ego. So, yep, reminds me of my brother. He'll throw down over anything. I got him straight and then left before it got violent. Right. Women want to feel like the men in their life are protecting them. So I'm not saying that sacred masculinity are men that right, don't fight back. This is actually the real simp energy. This is the real simp. The real simp is the guy who will fight over his ego, but forget about all of his loved ones, forget about the people that need him, that really need him, his family, his children, the women in his life, or maybe just one woman. Let's be real here. Some of y'all got women, plural. Thank you, Rontron. Old monkey face. Thank you, Rontron, for the donation. What should I say when I get a little donation? I should come up with a little lingo. Cha-ching. No, that's cheesy. I'll come up with something. But yeah. So yeah, women want to feel protected. The real simp is the simp that doesn't protect, right? Women, children, loved ones, family, right? But he protects his ego. He gonna protect his ego. That's the real simp. That's the real simp. And the real men are the men who defend and honor the people that are closest to him, the people that are closest to him that need him. Right? Those are the real men. Those are not the simps, but they're out here saying that these are men are simps. Right? Like somebody commented in the video that I did from Dust Bunny to Spoiled Girlfriend, that video that I did, and I was basically, it was a little story time about my recent relationship in dating, and I told I told a little part of the story where, like, when we went on our first date, he was trying to get my number because he didn't have my number through the window. And when the Uber driver or the Lyft was driving off, she was like, "You only got 5 seconds, sir. I'm about to drive off." Because she had like a timer, like she couldn't just wait there. I don't know what her deal was, but she was like, "I gotta go." Like, she was like, "Hurry this conversation up, sir." And then she just started driving off while he was still talking to me. And he started running after the car. It was so funny. Well, to me, it was funny. And he started running after the car, right? It was a funny, and it made me giggle because it was just like, he's so silly. Like, he gonna run after the car, really? And somebody in the comments was like, "Oh, I like a man who's chivalrous, but really, you gonna run after the car? You straight simping." Like, she was like, "You a simp for running after the car." And I'm like, first of all, every woman wants to feel desired. Like, what woman doesn't want to feel desired in a relationship? One that isn't comfortable with being desired. One that wants to have all the power and the control in a relationship. That's the one. One that doesn't feel comfortable receiving. That's the one. So a man running after you, like trying to get your number, right? Or because he thinks he might never see you again, because that was the situation. He thought he might never see me again. So he ran after the car. That's what you want. You want somebody to run after the car. You want somebody to run after you. You don't want them to be like, "Oh, well, the universe might bring her to me one day." Like, what? That is not this. No, that's not sacred masculinity. But that's what y'all calling simps. That's what y'all calling simps. Men who actually pursue you and show you that they want and that they want to be with you, that they want you. And you're praising the men who don't give a, who don't care, who will let you sit there and chase them. So they don't have to do no work. So they don't have to, value you. So they can have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, get bored, dump 3, get 3 more, like that's what y'all are praising. And then you calling the other men simps. It don't add up. It doesn't add up to me. So let's see. Beat on your monkey chest killed me. I know, I got that from Kevin Hart. Y'all remember that in his comedy show? He was, "Oh, you gonna beat on your little monkey chest?" Wait, is it Kevin Hart that said that?
Yeah.
Some comedian talking about monkey chest. Yes, feeling protected is a lovely thing. I hope I find that one day. You can have it now. You can have that feeling now. The question that you got to ask yourself is, how am I living up to that in my own life? And that's where I had in the conversation that I'll let you guys know I was having with a lady who was telling me about her relationship in the DMs. I had to ask her, what would your ideal man think about you in this situation, right? Whenever you're going into any relationship or situation, really assess if you're respecting yourself or not, right? Because she had been in a relationship where she put herself in a position to get used financially, physically, emotionally. Okay, she was giving him thousands of dollars. Um, he was promising her this, promising her that, and of course had access to her body. And I knew them personally, which made this a little hard for me because I could remember when I was having a conversation with him and he told me he was living with his mom. And I was like, yo, mama, what you living with your mom for? Ain't you kind of old for that? You like 40 something, almost. It didn't make sense to me. And then when she connected with me and she told me he was living with her, I was like, girl, if you only knew he called you his mama. If you only knew he was calling you his mama. But she couldn't leave. She couldn't leave that relationship. She couldn't leave because her understanding of sacred masculinity was null, and it was more congruent with the distorted and predatory kinds of masculinity than with the sacred one. So this is where you really I really have to recode yourself to remembering, okay, if I had a man that was absolutely in my life right now, it don't matter what the relationship dynamic is, platonic, family, whatever, and this man loved me to the bottom of his heart and always wanted the best for me, you know what I'm saying? How would he act in this situation if he knew